Hello folks, as I get closer to the end of this draft and I start ramping up the tension and the stakes and the action and, well, I'm about to embark on a big old action sequence. So here are six tips for writing action in fiction. Number one, don't just have action for the sake of it. It needs to advance the story. By that I mean it needs to create change and have consequences. Your characters will have to make choices in the heat of the moment that will affect what comes afterwards. If you can just take that action sequence out of the story and the scenes that sandwich it still work together, then maybe that action sequence isn't earning its keep. I remember we had two big action sequences lined up for Robot Overlords. A chase in an ice cream van and later a chase with our heroes pursued by a new robot called Octobots. And these were fun sequences, but ultimately they had zero effect on our story and characters and they had to be cut. That said, I'm still keen to try an ice cream chase one day. I always file these things away for later. 2. Let the reader do the work. This is where, strangely, action sequences have something in common with sex sequences. Don't feel the need to give the reader a blow-by-blow account. Or behave. We don't need every punch, kick, swerve, stab and parry. It gets tedious pretty fast. Give the reader just enough detail for them to create the action in their head. And if there's some sort of skill involved with a sword or a gun, then it's worth doing a little research to make it feel real. Though again, we don't need to know the inner workings of a Glock whatever to know that it goes bang and that bullets hurt people. I rail against a lot of modern thrillers where the author seems to get sexually aroused when talking about guns. In fact, I try to put mistakes in my stories just to wind up NRA members. 3. Pace. That is, don't just give us big blocks of action. Mix it up with some dialogue, write in short, punchy sentences, and keep the internal monologue visceral. This is not a time for ponderous reflection. That can come later. This is a time for panic, fear, anger, fight or flight. Use all the senses, the crunch of the bone, the taste of blood, the sweat and filth of battle. That will really help put the reader in the middle of the action. 4. Think of the setting. Is it a chase down narrow streets in Paris when the sky is above the Grand Canyon? When your hero falls, is it on sand, tiles, stinging nettles? Can they hide in the jungle or are they exposed in a wide open desert? What weapons are at hand? I love those unconventional fight scenes where Jason Bourne uses a rolled up magazine or John Wick uses a book. Use the setting and its props to make the sequences as fun and inventive as possible. 5. Give it a beginning, middle and end. I've used the word sequence a few times already, and I find that it helps to think of any action beat as its own little short story with a beginning, middle and end. One where the stakes are continually raised with a growing sense of urgency. Compacting all that story into a frenetic action sequence can make your hero make bad decisions, creating those consequences I was talking about earlier, and it will leave the reader breathless and wanting more. I'm quite breathless myself. 6. Aftermath and keeping it real. In too many stories, the hero walks away from a fight with nary a scratch, and even if they do get wounded, they often bounce back with superhuman speed. That may be appropriate for some stories, but readers will better relate to characters who hurt, who get the shakes, who mourn the deaths of their friends and enemies, who regret having to do terrible things. This is again where a little research will help as well. What does it feel like to break your ribs, be shot or stabbed? I bet it hurts a lot more than we might imagine. And I speak as someone who stubbed my toe recently. Well, I hope that was helpful. Any questions or comments? Then please pop them below. Until next time, happy writing and stop fighting.